I'm doing pretty good.
Good. Another beautiful day.
Yes, sir. Yeah,
Yeah.
it was a great one today.
Tell me,
Um,
how's your day? You're a personal trainer, right?
yes, sir. Yeah.
Yeah.
So today it was kind of it was a wild day today. Um, with my kids, my son is sick, and so uh, we're trying to clean up messes with that, but yeah, it's kind of hard to recall everything from the day. But
That bad, huh?
well, it's a problem that I have anyways. Just being able to recall things quickly is hard anyways for me. But yeah, today with Elijah being sick, it made everything a little bit tougher.
Okay, I got you. Why is it tough for you to recall things? What do you mean?
Well, in 2008, I was in a car accident,
Yeah.
and I had a really bad head injury. So, I mean, among other things, I mean, a bunch of broken bones. I had a pretty bad head injury and was in a coma for a few days. And yeah, when I kind of came to, um, I really didn't. Everything was like I didn't realize I had a lot of a long ways to go. You know what I
Okay.
mean? I felt like um, everybody else was kind of talking to me like you know I can't really explain how it was. I think I felt like uh, gosh, it's hard to even talk about. Um,
We're just jumping right into the fire here, man. Sorry.
no, it's I'm a different person than I was when I before the accident. So
Okay. Okay.
and really I used running to help reinvent myself,
Yeah.
and I think I'm better because of the accident. I don't think my life was going the right direction. I could have been uh, I was kind of a bodybuilder and trying to just put on a lot of muscle, and I was kind of lost and just had just gotten out, graduated college, and I was early in my career working at a physical therapy clinic on the kind of the fitness side of the clinic. After people would be released from
Mm.
their physical therapy, they'd come over to us and we'd set them up with a program and get started in the gym. Um, and so I was at this physical therapy clinic when I had the car accident. It was around Christmas, and um, my brother Levi was in the car with me, and the passenger in my on my passenger side um, actually yanked on the wheel, and
Wow.
I probably gave her a lot of reason to actually yank on the wheel. I was kind of a jerk. Maybe I was uh, you know maybe I had her kind of irritated with me.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
I don't blame her for pulling on the wheel. It was something she probably just trusted me to be able to recover, and nobody would do something like that if they knew what
Sure.
was going to happen. So we spun off the road and hit a tree, and then I was airlifted. My brother, he died there on the scene. Um, but coming to with the head injury, it really slowed down the whole process. Like getting hit with the news that your brother, is gone
Yeah.
and he died, and I mean, you're really protected from that kind of news when you have that kind of a head injury. So I was slowly coming to grip with what actually happened as my brain was healing, and I was using running to help that. I didn't know initially that's what I was doing, but then I started reading some books and started understanding you know, how good it is for you cognitively,
Mm-hmm.
and just, I was thinking about it for more on the end of trying to heal from that head injury.
Yeah. Holy cow, man. So I knew bits and pieces of your story just from a little bit of research I'd done, and I knew you'd been in an accident. So you were driving the car and there was someone else in the passenger seat, and was your brother like in the back seat?
Yeah, he was laying down.
Okay.
We were coming back from my parents' house, and he had some drinks, and you know, I was sober and I was driving back, and
Okay.
and yeah, it was just, you know, I was just kind of into this. Something was going on between me and the passenger. I'm not going to say who it was, but,
Yeah.
but you know, she just you know, did an impulsive thing,
Wow.
and
Wow.
I might have given her, you know, I might have, you know, aggravated her to that point, but
Wow. No
you
fault
know,
of yours. I've been there.
yeah,
You know, other
I
people
just,
have
you know,
been there.
yeah, yeah.
Wow.
So,
So, um, so let's back up a little bit, man. Sorry, we just jumped right into the fire there, and I had no intention of doing that.
yeah, no, it's okay.
You grew up in gymnastics, right? Is that your
Mhm.
primary background? So like gymnastics from a really young age?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
So from about 4 years old,
Okay.
and then I got out of it around 15 or so in high school.
Okay. Did you grow up in Texas?
Yeah.
Okay. San Antonio?
Mm-hmm.
San
Yep.
Antonio. I
Yep.
don't hear an accent, man.
No, I say y'all,
Okay.
but I don't have too much of an accent.
Got it. I got another buddy, an ultra runner buddy from San Antonio, and his accent is strong, man. And
Who's that?
he's all Texas. His name is John
What's it?
Sharp.
Oh, I know John.
Do you?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was just listening to an audiobook the other day, and I heard somebody talking about John Sharp, you know,
Oh, no
on some
kidding.
mountain somewhere, and he was some conversation they had with him.
Okay. Well, was it a David Clark book?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yeah, I
The only
forget the
reason
name.
the only reason I say that is because I was just recently listening to that book too, and I heard his name in it, and
Yeah.
he's a buddy of mine. We've done a bunch of running together, and he was out here in Colorado last summer, and we climbed a couple mountains, and he's
Oh
a
yeah.
crazy dude, but you know, he's one of my buds. So
That's awesome.
yeah, man. Okay. So, gymnastics up till like age 15. And then, if I heard right, you jumped into wrestling at that point.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, no, I got into wrestling, and I did really well in you know, in Texas, but it was kind of early Texas wrestling. We were just UIL like
Okay.
sanctioned.
Mhm.
You know, so it was kind of the beginning in Texas, but I think it's getting a lot bigger here.
Yeah.
I think I went to state 4 years.
Oh, nice.
Never did anything when I got there. I always kind of got my butt kicked when I got to state. And sometimes I didn't handle it very well. I don't think I was a very good loser.
Right.
So going back to kind of who I was before my accident, I think I was, you know, I mean, I like the person that I am now versus who I was before. I was kind of like a fighter, or maybe just kind of ruthless, I guess. You know, I didn't.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, I definitely wasn't a perfect kid growing up by any means. And I was in my fair share of fights too. When you say fighter, do you mean like brawler, like out on the playground at school type of guy, or like, what do you mean?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Well,
Yeah, like that. Yeah.
yeah.
Now I'm still a fighter, but I don't have I don't have that kind of aggressive, you know, towards other people. I realize that there's something else going on. I don't take offense to much anymore like I used to.
Yeah. Same here. I mean, once you grow up, you sort of grow out of that, but, and you found a way to channel that. And, you know, by the way, I never really did a full introduction, so we should let people know who you are. Your name is Corey Torkelson, and you're not only an ultra runner, but you're an American Ninja Warrior. You're a personal trainer. You've got all these things going on. So, jumping back into the conversation where we were, like, sure, none of us were perfect back in the past. You know, I mean, if you were a scrappy kid in high school, it sounds like you've grown up and found a way to sort of channel that in a positive
Yeah.
direction. So
Yeah.
yeah, dude, I mean, there's no fault there at all, man. And I know, I don't know. I didn't wrestle in high school. I did like martial arts and stuff in high school, but I wish I would have wrestled, because I know that the discipline that gives you, man, that is hard work.
Yeah. No, it taught me how to suffer.
Oh, for sure. Yeah.
You know, getting in the sauna and cutting weight,
Those weight cuts. Yeah.
and not eating and all this. So sometimes, even when I go into a race, you know, sometimes if something isn't, you know, isn't that awesome, say I'm a little hungry or I'm a little underfed, I don't, you know, I don't think it hurts me as much as it hurts other people, because I've come into a lot of matches super underfed, like not eating for days. But
were you doing big weight cuts?
You know what? And I think the wrestling and the cutting the weight actually affected my appetite. And I think it might actually, it hurt me a little bit as an ultra distance runner, because my nutrition when I'm running, if I fail, it's because I failed to keep putting the energy, the food into me. So,
sure.
So I've messed around with some different strategies. Before when I first started, I just ate all the food I could find. I didn't,
Yep.
You know, I would pick the stuff I wanted to eat, but I didn't have anything, like I wasn't using goo or anything like that.
Okay.
And so kind of the first time I ever finished a big race, it was when I was just like, I'm just going to goo every aid station in the middle, between every aid station.
Right.
And I was able to take it. And it was the only time I've ever continued to feed myself through the race. So, I'm trying to, try some different things. I can't just live on the goo.
Oh, dude.
So if you've got any tips for me, I'm just.
Well, are you eating like real food now rather than the goo, or what are you doing?
That's when I first started. I would eat real food. So I've got the ability to do it. I just, I don't, my appetite is pretty small. When I eat food, I eat small portions, and it doesn't, I think it's easier for me to get a lot of calories when I drink the calories as I go. I'm using this stuff it's Morton.
Okay.
It's a 320 calorie drink. I guess it gels up in your stomach or something. I don't know about the hydrogel technology, but it seems to be pretty good. I used it for my last 12-hour race, Spider Mountain.
Okay. Yeah, a lot of people are using just the liquid calories nowadays, and it seems to work better for them. And I've always had problems in ultras with getting sick. I did Ironmans first. I dabbled in triathlon for a while. And when I was training for those, everyone that was sort of showing me the way and teaching me was telling me, you've got to eat a goo every 20 minutes. That's what you got to do. And so I'd jam all these goos down, and I was just getting sick, man. Just all that sugar, I'd end up puking. And then I took the same advice into ultra running, and I'd set my watch like every 20 minutes. Okay, Adam, you got to have a gel. And I'd just be puking all over the place, and it just wasn't working for me. So eventually, I sort of moved on to the real food, but my stomach's queasy when I'm running ultras. I'll do fruit usually goes down pretty good. And, just little
use Tailwind or anything. Or just drink water?
Yeah. I usually have one water, one Tailwind.
Tailwind yet, but
okay. Is it the taste? You don't like the taste?
Okay. Yeah, I need to get some and just start using it on my training runs. Sure. But I'm drinking this Martin drink right now, and it's working for me so far. But you always have Tailwind at the races, so I need to start taking that too.
Yeah. Did you wrestle collegially?
I did. I went up to Central College in Iowa, and I really went up there I wanted to be a wrestler in Iowa. And the first year I got my butt kicked so bad. I didn't win a single match. Actually, I almost won a match at home, and it was a varsity match. Somehow, it was, and I went into overtime with the guy, and then I got beaten overtime. But that was the best match I ever had. It was at home. I did a cool move where he had a single leg. He had my foot lifted in the air. I was standing, and I did some jump, and I kicked over his head and kicked out of it. It was a pretty awesome move, but I still lost the match. But
yeah. Well, that was the start of the ninja, right? It sounds like a ninja move.
Yeah, right, I guess so. But yeah, no, I just fought to get through that season. I didn't, I wanted to quit before I even finished the season. But once I got through that year, I didn't wrestle my sophomore, junior, senior year. I just I ran track at that point. So
gotcha. Okay. So your background is diverse, man. I mean, gymnastics and wrestling and then track. Have you kept up with all of them? Are you still good at gymnastics? Just based on the videos and stuff I've seen, you're doing handstands and all this crazy stuff all the time.
Yeah, I think there's certain things I might be better at than I was before when I was younger.
Okay.
But my flexibility was what always hurt me in gymnastics. So I'm always working on my flexibility. But that's yeah, I'm not going to get my middle splits anytime soon.
You and me both.
It's going to take me a little while. I don't know if I'll ever get there, but I'm definitely I'm more capable of it now, just because I can be a little patient with things now.
Yep. So how old were you when this accident happened?
Oh gosh, I think must have been about 24.
Okay.
Maybe.
Okay.
Maybe 20. My brother was 29.
Okay.
So -5. Yeah.
Yeah. And so you and your brother grew up really close, right?
Yeah. He was about 4.5 years older than me.
Okay.
But we were both in gymnastics. He was much better than I was. He went to the Air Force Academy and did well there. He was an All-American, and eventually he was coaching there at the Air Force Academy too.
Okay.
So
okay. You mentioned being sort of a different person before the accident and after the accident. Like, was it the accident that changed that sort of your mentality, or was it more of a personality change, or all the above, or what did it look like?
Yeah. It's a good question. No, I kind of was like when I was kind of like a middle schooler. That was kind of I was like a really smart middle schooler. I wasn't I had a lot. I was really impulsive, and I would just say things that were really off, but I didn't realize I was saying these things, and it was these like, wow, what's this guy? What's wrong with this guy?
Okay.
And so I just I guess I had to learn, by saying some dumb things and trying to, recover, and just learning how to recover. I think, you have to learn to be more forgiving about other people, and when they're, not in the right, mind frame, or if they're aggravated or something like that. I think, it was just, it was a process, coming back from the head injury. It was, I couldn't go to sleep at night because you can't remember anything. So it's hard to go to bed because you keep trying to remind yourself what you got to do in the morning. But then I started taking notes, when I was at nighttime before bed, and I knew that I could write it down, and if I forgot, I would have it there written down. So that's how I started learning how to get to sleep.
Wow.
But then I started running and I, I started running a lot. I started running barefoot.
Yeah.
So
What was the impetus behind that? I mean, I know that
I think I think I was like every other guy or girl or woman who's gone out and read that book, Born to Run, and decided that they would give it a try.
For sure.
And so it worked out pretty well for me. I had to go real slow.
Uh-huh.
I wasn't racing anybody. I always wanted to be the best at everything I did. So coming into the running world after breaking my neck and having this head injury, and I'm all muscle bound, 180 pounds, I'm 150 pounds now. And so I lost 30 pounds of muscle.
Sure.
But yeah, I think that the first, I don't know. I'm kind of an extreme kind of person. So I was on that kind, and I know that's kind of how a lot of ultra runners are. So a lot of them come from that kind of that bodybuilding end. Yeah. And then they channel it into the ultra distance world.
It's true.
But I'm losing my train of thought here, but if you want to.
No, that's all right. Yeah. With the barefoot thing, like I think I saw a video of you running barefoot on a road marathon, right? You were running roads barefoot. Dang.
Oh yeah. No, I think it's easier to run on roads. Actually, it's
really.
You go slower than you're going to go on something that's soft. But when there's little pebbles or things like that, you got to be a lot more careful.
That's true.
But yeah, I never went really fast. I think I did a 4-hour 4:01 marathon. That might have been in San Antonio, or I did Las Vegas too, barefoot.
That's legit.
But now, then I went through all the minimalist shoes and all that. And I've kind of, now I'm running in Hokas and all sorts of different stuff. So I've gone all the way around, and totally. I think, I like it all. I think it's all good. I think, there's no one way to run either. I think when you're running for 100 miles, you got to run a lot of different ways.
That's true. Yeah. Well, I saw a little clip, a little video of you running, and it looks like your running form is freaking perfect, like just immaculate. And I would have to say it's probably from running barefoot, right? Like you learn how to play.
I hope so.
And you learn that perfect 180 turnover. Like just that little clip I saw, I'm like, man, that's the model right there.
Nice. Thank you.
Yeah. Was that
That's
something
probably the best compliment I've ever got.
Was that something you had specifically worked on, or do you think that just came from running barefoot?
Oh, I think it was, I was studying it. It's definitely something that I've gone through the pose stuff, and I've learned, different, I've seen some of the chi running and chi walking stuff. I just think that it's all good to try different things, breathe differently. And I think if you're experimenting all the time, there's a lot of right ways to do things. So I think that's what I kind of learned.
Yeah, I agree.
Go ahead.
Oh, no, I was just going to say, I've been playing around recently with trying to breathe just strictly through my nose while running. Have you played around with that at all? Just all nasal breathing?
I have. I was actually going to start, maybe trying the water in the mouth thing.
Yeah.
And playing with that a little bit.
Yep.
But I go all the nasal breathing, and then I'll mess with all sorts of stuff, singing, humming.
Okay.
And while I'm doing it, I'm thinking about, how they, we used to, work on the railroads and how you're maybe like sailors or people sailing across the sea would heave, and all this, and so I'm kind of using the audible breathing kind of things to play around with that.
For sure. While we're on the subject of breathing, in your own practice, do you do any other sort of breathing exercises, holotropic breathing, or any of the Wim Hof breathing, or carbon dioxide tolerance, or anything like that?
Well, I suppose I have, because I had a guy who was, maybe I wasn't so, I think it was the Wim Hof stuff, because we did some ice bath and some sauna. And he was having me do some kind of real fast breathing.
Okay.
But I haven't done a lot of it.
Sure.
So I think when I'm running is probably when I'm playing with my breathing the most. But no, I need it. What's holotropic? What's this holotropic breathing?
Holotropic breathing is pretty similar to the Wim Hof system. I went to a holotropic breathing seminar one time, and it was insane, man. Like, they had us lay down on the floor. It was like in the back of this yoga studio. It was like a closed door session after the yoga studio was closed, right? And they had us doing this breathing. It was pretty similar to Wim Hof, where you're over oxygenating your body. So you're taking in a big breath and letting out a little, in a big breath and letting out a little. And they had us do this for like an hour and a half. It was a long time.
Oh, wow.
And it felt like about 30 minutes. And it was insane, man. Like, it was psychedelic. Like, you know, your eyes were closed, but it was really trippy. And there was
getting high on your own supply.
Totally. That's exactly what it was. And there was people there that were hysterically laughing and they couldn't stop. Really? There was this lady there that was just bawling her eyes out. And, you know, there's sort of a guy there that's like guiding the whole process. So he's helping people out, but it was insane, man. So I would recommend at least.
I don't know anything about that.
Yeah.
I don't even know anything about that. That sounds cool.
It's cool.
I'd give that a try.
For sure. Yeah. It's definitely a natural way to get high. It was pretty interesting, man. So when did you get into ultra running? And was it like, you know, for me, it was definitely, you know, I read Dean Karnaz's book, and then eventually the Born to Run book came along. Was it kind of the same thing with you that inspired you to start running these longer distances?
Yeah. I think what I did was I ran the first race. I was like, I'm going to run a marathon. So I ran a marathon. Yep. And I did that one barefoot, and then I ran and I was going to run a 50K, and I did that in these the 5 finger shoes, the Vibram 5 fingers. Yep. And that, I mean, it was like an 8-hour 50K. It was, I was crippled. And then I was, everybody probably thought this guy is insane. And I kind of was. And then I went and I did the Bandera 100K in the 5 fingers. And I've got to be the first person to do that. Maybe. I don't know how many others have.
You're probably right.
But Bandera sucks. And I can't, and every time I'm out there running now, I'm like, man, I can't believe I ran 100 kilometers in 5 fingers out here.
Dude.
I'm out there in Hokas now.
Yeah, totally. That's crazy. How many times have you done the Bandera? Gosh,
I've done that one more than any other ultra. I think is the Bandera 100K.
Okay.
Let me think. Maybe 5 times. Maybe 4 or 5 times.
Nice. And you've covered the 100-mile distance a few times too, right?
Yeah, I did. I finished Cactus Rose once. I think I ran it. I've run it 4 times now.
Okay.
But I finished it once. And then I've finished Rocky Raccoon a couple times. I had a big fail in San Diego at like mile 44, the San Diego 100. Yeah, it'd be nice if I had somebody, to remember all these moments for me. I was thinking, man, he wants some stories. I wish I was a better storyteller.
No, this is perfect, man. So, I mean, going back to the accident though, and you talk about your memory, was memory loss. So like when you woke up from the accident, was it almost like amnesia where you didn't remember parts of your past? And how has that affected
No, I
you
remembered
now?
I remembered everything.
Okay.
Everything from before. Yeah.
Okay.
It just messed up the way my brain, worked from that point on. I think, I remembered, I was operating on the memory that, from the schooling that I had. I could remember things that I learned in college. I knew, all the stuff that I needed to know to pass the exams I needed to get my certifications or whatnot.
Okay.
So all that was still there. It was just kind of the way that I used, really my, I guess it was really more about like just the short term, things that happened, that day. It's just like you're always like losing your keys.
Okay.
You can't quite. But I remembered things from before.
Okay. Okay. Is there anything you can do to? I mean, like, forgive me if this sounds course, but is there anything you can do to like heal your brain? Like, I've heard of people incorporating like the ketogenic diet to sort of heal brain trauma from like concussions and stuff like that. Is there anything that you incorporate or anything that you can do?
Well, I think the exercising is probably the most important thing, but I'm sure nutritionally, I mean, taking fish oil and stuff like that would probably be a great thing to do. I'm kind of lazy with my supplementation and all that. So
okay.
I'm pretty, I'll eat. I'm really lazy about my food. To be honest, to be really honest, I'm really lazy about it.
That surprises me.
Yeah, no, it's because it's not an issue for me. I'm probably in that intermittent fasting place all the time, and it's not something that I do intentionally. It's just if I'm not hungry, but I want to maintain, I want to be able to build my muscles. So some days I have big days and some days, I don't eat much, but
yeah,
it's not very structured. I'll tell you that.
Okay. What's your typical diet like? Do you follow any sort of vegetarian or just like anything, or do you just eat whatever sounds good?
I'll eat anything. I'm an omnivore, but I think probably, maybe a plant-based diet is the way to go. So I guess I'd probably be moving that direction.
Yeah.
I just need to make some more intentional, moves to actually, incorporate it into my life. But, I don't eat, I eat pretty good. My wife feeds me well. She feeds me good food.
Nice.
Nice.
So, helps.
But when I'm on my own, I don't eat much, but it might be a bag of chips, if I do, it might be a bag of chips and a Gatorade or something. Sure. But the downside is I think the damage is that it'll do to your teeth, really. All the sugar that I've drank over my life. Right. It was.
Yeah. Well, with all the stuff that I see you doing, all the exercising and all the just everything you're doing, man, like gymnastics, this American Ninja Warrior stuff, like everything that you're getting up to. I mean, my personal opinion would be like you should definitely be eating meat at this point in your life. But I just saw this documentary recently where even Arnold Schwarzenegger has gone vegetarian and stopped eating meat. And he was a big meat and eggs and protein guy, obviously, and steroids, obviously, back in the day. Even he's gone vegetarian. And so it's like, the older you get in life, I can see that being more of a positive thing. Like when you're not in the gym for hours and hours every single day, it seems to make more sense as far as like energy levels go.
I remember what I had I just remember what I had to eat. My last meal was a chicken quesadilla from oh gosh, I can't remember the place it's from,
Yeah.
but it's a chicken quesadilla, you know,
Okay.
and I ate half and my wife had the other half.
Oh, perfect. Yeah. That's not much food though.
No. When you split it up.
Yeah. Well, you look lean and you look super strong too. So you must be doing something
Stronger
right.
than I'm stronger than I've ever been in my life.
I believe it.
I'm in the best shape I've ever been.
I believe it.
And you know, I think I do take some a protein called Gene Pro.
Okay.
It's just like 30 grams of protein, and I put it into some milk, and so I probably live on a lot of. I do a lot of milk.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd say that's probably how I hold my weight, is probably dairy.
Got it. Okay.
But
at what point in your ultra running career did you decide to get into the American Ninja Warrior stuff? Like that's a left turn right there. But
well, they came to San Antonio, and
okay.
I went and I got in the walk-on line that year. If it wasn't for another guy that was at the gym we were at, Olympic gym, before it shut down. This guy Jerry, he said he was going to go down and get in the walk-on line, so we went down together and waited. But it rained that night, probably 2 or 3 competitors before I was going to go. So they called it, and I learned what I had to learn, you know, to try to get on the show, how to, you know, what to do in the video, and when to submit the video, and all the little things you got to learn to get the call back. And I got lucky, and I got the call back for the season 10.
Okay. What's that process like? Like I've heard of other people getting on reality shows, and it's just a constant barrage of tests and quizzes and drug tests and blood work and all this stuff just to be on a reality show. Was it the same thing for American Ninja Warrior, or what was that process like?
Well, this year they did a lot of COVID testing. They were testing us a lot for COVID. But no, it was pretty much you just fill out the application, and they ask you about a bunch of stuff, and I think you answer it as honestly as you want to. And so you put what you want to put down on the paper, and if you're comfortable, and I was comfortable giving them that information. And then really it's about getting the video to where when they watch it, you know, it wows them, and they want to, you know, see if they can make a better video than that.
Okay.
But yeah, if it was about just being the best athlete, though, there's tons of athletes out there. So I think, you know, you have to have some sort of story. And I think my story is when and if it gets told, I think that American Ninja Warrior will figure out a way to get it out of me, you know.
So the video is clutch. That's a big deal.
Yes.
You got to make that video perfect. Okay.
Yeah, this guy Alejandro De Hoyos in San Antonio is the guy that made my video in 2010, and then this last one they got me submitted again. And it's like it's amazing how he can put together this story. It's like, how can he, you know, and he makes it look like I'm the one telling the story, but somehow he drew it out of me.
Nice. And then you were on season 10 and 11, if I'm correct. And so just like, what was the experience like?
Well, I was on season 10, and I didn't get the call back for 11. And then I didn't get the call back for 12. It was kind of COVID had just started. And they cut down the competitors a lot. So I think I want to say it was like 250 people got a call, and yeah, I don't want to say exactly. I know it was a lot less competitors got the call in 2012. But then I just resubmitted that same video from 2012 because I really couldn't afford to make another one if, you know, at this point, not thinking I was going to get the call back.
Okay.
And I just put the one from 2012 back in, and it was a good video. And I knew I wasn't going to make a better one than that.
Okay.
And then I got the call back. It was just, you know, they were inviting more people to come compete. So they were picking from a bigger group of guys.
For sure. Yeah. Was it pretty intense being on the show? Like, did you feel pressure while you were being recorded? And what did you meet a bunch of the other competitors? Were they pretty cool, or were they big headed, or what was the whole thing like?
Yeah, you meet a lot of different personality types, and I had a great time this year because I got to go with. There's a competitor in San Antonio named Quest, and I met another guy named JC from Mississippi, and we call ourselves the Three Ninja Amigos. He was down here as a COVID nurse, and Quest lives here, but we all trained together, and so we got to compete on the show and kind of go through that process together. And before I in season 10, I didn't have anybody. I didn't know anybody. And it was intimidating, you just to talk to people. You don't really want to, I'm not the type to really engage too much. But I think you learn that there's a lot of kind of, I even hate to talk about it, but it's just a lot of fake people. So there's like your friends, and then, you have enemies that you're not really, you just know you're not the type of people y'all aren't going to enjoy each other. So y'all just stay away from each other. So friends, you got your enemies, and then you have frenemies. And, I'd rather have an enemy than a frenemy.
Right.
Well, somebody that's acting like they're there for you and they're on your side, but they're plotting against you. And I think a lot of that happens when you get into the TV kind of, it's a sport outside of the show, but I think it definitely adds another spin or twist on it that makes it a lot more challenging for me.
Yeah, I can see that. Yeah. And you're still running ultras these days, man. You're still out there killing it.
Yeah. I think I'm going to do Pedernales, like one of those night races, the Captain Carl's night races next.
Okay. Nice. And you just did one like pretty recently, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I did Spider Mountain 12-hour.
12-hour. Nice. Okay.
Yeah. So in my mind, I've been telling people I'm going to do I've been talking about it. I haven't signed up for it yet, but I've told a few people that I'm going to try the Cactus Rose 150. And, it's hard because I know that I've failed the dang thing 3 times. I've only finished the 100-miler once. So jumping in and going, I'm going to try to do 150. I just feel like I'm in the best. I'm in really good shape. I've got a long time to get ready for this thing, and I'm looking at it as a multi-day race. If I don't, and I've started running. Looking at my heart rate over the last several ultras, and if I'm looking at my heart rate and I'm not letting it, go up in the red. I mean, there was a 24-hour race that I ran, and I spent like over 6 hours in the red, and I dropped out of that thing at like 12 or 13 hours. I mean, I gassed out hard.
Yeah.
But looking back at my running details, it was like, yeah, you spent 6.5 hours in the red, But
is that?
Yeah, so using my heart rate has really helped me a lot over the last several races.
Okay. Help you calm down and go at a little bit of a slower pace.
Yeah.
So
I think if I failed at a race, it was probably because I came out like crazy, man, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. That's what I was going to ask is, you know, we've all had as ultra runners DNFs, but that's what I was going to ask is, did you just go out of the starting line just way too fast, just going guns a-blazing?
I think I've gone out too fast almost every race of my life, except for these last couple ones, you know, maybe the 12-hour and the Cactus Rose 100.
Yep.
This last one, yeah, I was patient on those last two. So, but I think every race that I've ever run in my life, you know, any competition, I'm going hard from the very, very start. So,
is that just part of your personality? Are you a very competitive person with everything in life?
Yeah, pretty much.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
But I think learning, just slowly learning, you know, I've gradually gotten better at not coming out at so fast, but yeah, it's been a process. I think I'm fine. And I was just going out by feel. So I feel like I'm not running hard, you know, but I'm still going way too fast.
Right.
So now I'm using my heart rate, and that's, if I'm looking at the heart rate, then I know, okay, I'm going too fast.
Yeah. Yeah.
You go easy.
Yeah.
Just try to stay in the green, and you know, if I see my heart rate getting up over 150 or getting close to 160, I'm walking.
Totally. Yeah.
That's
smart. That's a smart move.
But there was a point in this last 12-hour race where it was at like 110, and I'm hiking hard, thinking like, I'm going to look down at my watch and it's going to be like racing. And I see my heart rate's down to like 110. It was, I mean, there was points where it was hard to get my heart rate up.
Okay. Well, that's because you're fit, man. You're freaking fit. So years ago, part of my story is I was doing a bunch of martial arts, and I did an MMA fight, and it was like on kind of a dare almost, but I had time to train for it. So I had like 6 months to train for this fight. Right. And man, I've never been so nervous for anything as I was for this fight, right? Like walking into that cage, and when they closed and locked the cage door, dude, it was almost an out of body experience. I was so out of my head. Right. But that experience, since I had that experience, now I'm never nervous for an ultra. Like I walk up to the starting line, no nerves at all. Was it pretty much the same with you? Like was that American Ninja Warrior, like just completely nerve wracking and adrenaline was just jacked, so that now when you walk up to an ultra marathon, it's like, dude, this is easy.
You know what? I think going up to the ultra marathon, I haven't been nervous. I get excited. You know, I'm excited about it, but
totally.
Yeah, I just having a little glitch here. Losing my train of thought again.
No, it's just like another easy day for you. If you're running an ultra marathon, I mean, you've been through harder stuff, man. So,
but I know what you're talking about. You know, wrestling it was the most nervous thing ever. You know, when you're going to go into the ring with somebody and try to put their back down to the mat.
Yeah. Well, the dude's,
I mean, one-on-one with somebody, you know, where somebody's going to win. That's the ultimate. There's nothing more nervous than that. I mean,
nothing.
You can't even compare it to this Ninja Warrior stuff.
Okay.
You're getting on stage and you're going to run this thing. It's nothing like standing, you know, one-on-one with somebody, and you got to beat them. They're trying to beat you, and y'all are just doing everything you can, you know, just trying to crush each other.
Yep. In front of your family.
There's nothing. Yeah.
You're in front of your friends. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
I just hope I don't crap my pants in front of all my family and friends. You know, it's like, I don't want to get knocked out in the first round or.
You know what? When you started telling me that, you know, about your MMA fight, it brought me back to the wrestling and you know, the mornings, you know, getting ready, weighing in, seeing who you're gonna compete against. It was kind of like, I always tell people when I meet somebody else who's run 100 miles, and, you know, I don't often outside of the community that I'm in, but when somebody I just come across them, it's like I'm like in awe. you know, because they ran 100 miles. That's the hardest thing I've ever done.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
I was puking my guts out at Cactus Rose, and I had to go out for that one more 25-mile loop. And I was kind of hoping that the doctor, whoever the medic was there, was going to say, no, you can't go out. And I was kind of playing it up. And then, you know, after 20 minutes or something, they gave me some Pedialyte. They were like, all right, you're okay.
You're like, damn.
I was like, okay. So I was going to play up this whole thing and I was going to be done. And then I just kind of walked out. I just walked out of the, you know, onto my next loop. And it's amazing how it comes back, you know, the sun comes out, or you just rally somehow. I was puking my guts. I just into this trash can. It was so loud. I was probably yelling more, you know, making it really. I'm not good at throwing up. No, something wasn't working well for me.
I hear you. So a few years back, I did the Cruel Jewel 100 in Georgia, and I'm like 70 or 80 miles into this thing. And as I'm running, you're running up and down these mountains, and I look way, way down, and there's a road down there with cars driving by. And just like in my head, I just got this thought, like, I could just go down there and hitch a ride. And like, just, they could take me into the finish. Hell, I could even lie and say I actually finished the race. And that's not something I would normally do, but those were real thoughts coming into my head. Like, my body's so broken down that my body's telling me that that's a good idea. It's crazy, man.
That's a pretty tough one, huh? That you said the Cruel Jewel.
Cruel Jewel, yeah, it was tough, man. I mean, there's very little flat running. It's all up and down on that one.
Wow,
it's legit. So you said in the future, maybe a 150. Any other plans? Any more Ninja Warrior stuff? Anything else coming up in your future?
The show is airing on May 31st on Monday.
Ah, sweet.
So,
okay.
So hopefully I get, you know, some airtime. I can't really talk about how I did. And, you know, not everybody's going to get on TV or featured. But hopefully, if I keep my fingers crossed, I get, you know, a little.
That's coming up in a few days.
Yeah. It's coming right. It's coming quick,
man. This podcast was perfect timing then to promote.
That's what I was thinking. I was like, I hope that we get on before the show comes on. Yeah, no, it's perfect timing.
Shoot. All right. Cool, man.
So,
and you're under contract where you can't talk about it though, huh?
Yeah. I had to, I can't even remember all the stuff that I had to sign, but they kind of hammered it into us.
Okay.
So
yeah. Cool.
I can't really talk about it, but it was a great time, and I already talked about those guys I you know, met up with, and we trained together here in San Antonio, and much better experience than previous years, and I'm looking forward to continuing with the Ninja Warrior stuff, and you know, keep putting my submission video in every year.
Yeah, for sure. Killer, man. Killer. Well, this has been awesome, man. I mean, you are, God, like just looking at your Instagram, man. So your Instagram handle is the Ultra Ninja, right?
Yeah. The Ultra.Ninja.
Okay. You guys, anybody listening, find this guy and check out his Instagram. It's just so inspiring. The crap this guy's doing. It's like gymnastics, ultra marathons, American Ninja Warrior style workouts. Like, he is literally, the Ultra Ninja is like the perfect Instagram handle for you, man. That sums it up.
Oh, and my wife would like me to drop hers too. Out of her, she's the aerial ninja. She's an aerialist, you know, like one of those circus people that.
Oh, really?
That does all the stuff on silks and fabric and you know, the liras and trapezes, all sorts of stuff.
Okay. Awesome. How long have you guys been married?
Oh yeah, you're gonna put me on the spot. It's gotta be like 7 years now.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so.
Cool. Do you guys both work at the gym that you own?
Yes. Yeah. She's It's her Pilates studio, but
Okay.
I use it a little bit, and
Ah,
I do a lot of I bounce around and go to people more than she does. She does more work at the studio,
okay.
but yeah, we work there. We actually met at Olympic Gym
Ah,
in San Antonio before it closed, and it was hardcore. You know, there was pictures of Arnold, and all the bodybuilders, Ronnie Coleman. They all came there and trained, and it was a shame when it
mm,
kind of passed away.
for sure.
But yeah, we met there. We were both trained, personal trainers, just contract.
Okay. Okay. So you both, okay, you were both trainers there.
Mhm.
Got it. Okay. I was wondering if you were both just working out there and that's how you met, because I've always wondered, like I had a roommate once that was like, how do you approach a woman at a gym that doesn't sound creepy, you know? And so I was going
Yeah,
to
there's
ask
no
you,
way.
there's no way.
Yeah, so if we weren't both working there and seeing each other every single day and just
Yeah.
being able to slowly kind of, yeah, I
Yeah,
mean, uh,
for sure.
yeah, I don't know how I did it, but somehow I managed to do something good.
Oh, yes, that's it right there. Well, awesome, man. I wasn't, I'm going to try and get this out before the 31st so that people can hear it, so that they can
Cool.
tune in and watch you, man. So I'm excited. I just
Right
wrote it
on.
down and I want to see it. I can't wait. So listen, Corey, just keep inspiring, man. Keep doing what you're doing. You're a freaking savage, man. You're a badass. Just keep it up, man. Like, yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing what's in your future, man. And if you ever come out to Colorado, look me up, man. I'll take you up in the mountains and
Yeah.
we'll beat ourselves up.
All right. Yeah, absolutely will. All right,
Cool.
Adam.
All right,
Hey,
man.
thanks a lot.
Absolutely. Stay in touch. Talk to you soon, man.
Yep.
Okay.
Talk to you later.
Later.